Hello everyone, so welcome back to another video. As you read by the title, we're gonna go through everything that I watched over the month of July. We're gonna go through series and movies that I watched, and in case you didn't know or in case you're new here, what I do is that I separate movies from the series. At the same time, when it comes to the movies, I separate them into categories from like half star to 5 stars. And at the end of the video, I said my favorite and least favorite series and movies from the month. Jungle of love. So when it comes to the series, let's start talking about this trilogy. I watched all of the seasons from Pose from 2018 to 2020. First of all, I just want to say that after I ended this series, I felt so good. Like I felt with so much power. I felt like I can do anything in life. These series are perfect. I gave 5 stars to every single season because queer culture is real. I love how the series talked about the struggles queer people face in society in general. Even though this series takes place in late 70s, 80s and 90s, some of the issues from that era still happen nowadays. I cried a lot. But at the same time, I laughed a lot. So I love when series and movies make me feel that way. And the other series that I watched, that will be Love, Victor, the season 3, the finale. I have to say that I love Victor ever since I came out in 2020. And I love how Love, Victor represented the struggles, especially in the Latin community. I'm Latin, so I really felt identified with Victor in a way. Not in everything, but in some ways I really felt identified. And the last series that I watched is Miss Marvel from 2022. Now, I have to say that I was not that excited about this series, but I decided to give it a go because each episode was coming out every week. I have to say that this series, first of all, is so cute. I love the way the series are edited. I think it has a beautiful post-production work. I also like that this series is very unique and it's very interesting when it comes to MCU origins. I like that representation. I know because I've talked to a few people that not everything about the representation is great, but obviously I cannot say much because obviously it's not my culture. Now when it comes to the movies, I didn't watch half-star movies. So let's start into the films that I gave 1 star, and in this case there were 2. The first one will be Dashcam, released in 2022. Now I just have to say that this movie is one of the most annoying films I have ever seen in my entire life.
What was the reason? What was the reason?
And I'm not exaggerating. I think this movie didn't go anywhere. I don't think this movie gave something new to the table, and it's such a shame because I love found footage. It's one of my favorite subgenres in horror or in filming in general. After discovering the lead that we have, it's just very annoying to root for her, like almost impossible. And when something bad happened to her, I was really happy about it because I was like, you kind of deserve it.
It's what she deserves.
Oh my god.
And I don't think you should feel that way for leads. I don't know if this was intentional. I don't know if they wanted to make the leads quite different, because obviously most of the leads in horror or in filming are positive, good people and stuff. So maybe they wanted to be different and have a bad lead. But for me, that didn't work in this movie. The next film is a really new film. This came out like a week ago, and that will be The Grey Man from Netflix, a Netflix original released in 2022. Now, the first thing that I want to say is, can somebody tell me why this movie cost $200 million? And for what? What was the reason behind this?
What was the reason, bitch?
Like, I tried to rescue good stuff about this film, and the only reason why I gave 1 star is because the action and fighting sequences. The rest is very, very cliche. Everything that you have seen in an action movie in the past is in this movie, but speed up 3 times, if that makes sense. We have great faces in this film, for example, Ryan, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas. I have to say that this is probably the worst Chris Evans acting I have ever seen, and the guy knows how to act because obviously he does a great job as a Captain America. He did a great job as this guy in Cellular, like back in 2005, I believe. And the rest of his films are great, to be honest. Now, I didn't watch 1.5 stars, so when it comes to 2 stars, I also watched 2 movies. And the first one is a comedy, so let's just talk about it. And it might be unpopular and people might be surprised because this movie is very, very popular. Like, many people love this film, but for me it was not the case. That will be Crazy Stupid Love, released in 2011. Now, I was really excited to watch this, especially because my partner, he loves this film. So I was so excited to watch this, and it stars a few actors and actresses that I've watched in the past that I liked. I'm just so tired of seeing comedies around white straight couples with like a few issues, and I was just not happy about it. I also don't like how this film treats women in general. This movie is very, very straight, so I was not like so interested because this basically felt like a jungle. Like, we have this straight guy, he's super handsome, whatever, and he's treating women like animals. The other 2 stars, and it's such a shame, and I'm so sad to include this movie in 2 stars, and that will be Incantation from Netflix, another Netflix original released in 2022. Now, this film was involving 2 of my favorite things in horror: Asian horror and found footage. So obviously I was so excited to watch this film. First of all, the first thing, let's start with the cons from this film. So the first con is that this movie is way too long. This movie is almost 2 hours for no reason. Also, I don't like that this movie jumps in many timelines throughout the movie. So for example, we are in the present, then we are 2 years before, then we are 6 years before, then we go to the present, then we go 2 weeks earlier, then we go in the...
What was the reason?
I didn't find this movie horrific at all. I even laughed in a few parts, and it's such a shame because Asian horror is beautiful. Like, one of my favorite films of all time, which is youu, The Grudge, is Asian horror. I loved it. I also love One Missed Call, Train to Busan, Ringu, you know. So like, Asian horror is like beautiful for the horror community. Do you think that this concept could have worked better as a series? Because like I said before, it has so many timelines. So as a series, they could have explained the past, the present, and the future, and they could extend the episodes of 40 minutes, and we could have a great Incantation series. The next 2 films are 2.5 stars, and they are non-horror, and the first one will be John Tucker Must Die, and this is a comedy from 2008. Now, I have to say that the main reason why I rewatched this, because I watched this many times ago, is Brittany Snow. She stars in this film and she is hilarious. She is the reason why this movie is 2.5 stars. Her acting is amazing. I laughed so much, I laughed so hard, and I appreciate that. Apart from that, this movie sucks. Message is so toxic. Like, this movie is trying to normalize cheating and lying, and it's like, why would you try to normalize cheating on your partner and lying to your partner, to yourself, to the people? Like, just why? I don't get it. And the next film will be Thor, the new Thor film released in 2022, and I was not excited about this film, even though I loved Thor from 2017 and I like Thor as a character. But this movie fails because it just doesn't have substance. Like, nothing happens. This movie is not going anywhere. The one thing that I want to say, and let me know in the comment section below if you agree with me, is I don't appreciate and I don't agree that this movie was so happy to show Thor as. Like, it was so happy to have a naked scene for no reason, let me tell you, because this was just random. I don't know, like, we didn't have the need to see this, but they were not happy to not show the gore and the blood in Doctor Strange and in the Multiverse of Madness. And it's like, why is forbidden to show something that is relevant to the movie? Because if Doctor Strange 2 had blood and gore, it will make sense, because we know Wanda, we know her reasons. 2 movies I gave 3 stars, and the first one will be a short film, and you can find it on YouTube, and that will be The Barbie Boy. Now, this short film is so sad, because it's like, I identify with this boy so much. I used to love to play with Barbies, but I was so scared This movie is very strong and the end is so sad. If you have watched this, let me know in the comment section below so we can interact about this film, because the ending almost made me cry. And the other 3 stars will be the new Minions, The Rise of Gru. This movie was so cute, it was so bloody cute. I love the Minions, I just want to have Minions, I want to hug them, I just want to squish their face, they're so bloody cute. Now we have a few 3 stars and a half, and the first one will be, and it might be unpopular, it will be Brightburn, released in 2019. Now I have to say that I didn't have expectations for this film because this film has received many bad reviews, but I was like, okay, fair enough. I was interested for the storyline. I was amazed. I think this was so unique, so original in some ways, and the main way is because superheroes, you always see them with the same basic storyline. I think also the gore and the practical effects are beautiful, and the fact that the antagonist and lead is a kid is even more horrifying. The next 3 stars will be Old, released in 2021. Now, again, this movie very underrated, and the main reason what I will say is underrated is because I think this movie took a concept in such a unique way, and this movie took one of my biggest fears, which is aging, time and death. And I don't think I've seen this before. I think this movie talked about aging in such a great way, because it's not a secret, because of society we are scared to age, and this movie was so horrifying because of the way they show aging. Also time, like no matter what you do, no matter what you say or whatever, time will pass, like the years will come, and that's horrifying because you cannot control time, and this movie proved that. And also death. I'm scared of death, I'm terrified of death. The next 3 stars will be The Retreat. Now, I'm not gonna talk too much about this film because I mentioned this film in my last video, which is horror movies I think you haven't seen before. The next one will be Captain America Civil War. Now, I love this film because it has one of the best action scenes and like battles, if that makes sense. I really like that we developed Wanda's character, and Wanda's one of my favorite characters in the MCU. And the last 3 stars will be Some Gnome. This is a short film, and it's from one of my friends. She directed it, Kylie Rosanne, Haunted Hippie. So this is her first directed short film, and I really recommend this film. You can find this over her channel. Now, when it comes to 4 stars, the first one will be Final Destination 5. As you know me, Final Destination is my favorite franchise of all time. Final Destination 5, what can I say about this film? The main thing will be the end. That ending is kiss cheeks, because it's just the best ending in horror. The other 4 stars is a first time watched, and that will be Cube. I love this film. I don't know why I didn't see this before. I just loved it. I think it was so simple, but it was so complicated. Like, I struggled to understand this film in a good way. I love the practical effects. I think the kills are gorgeous, especially for the time this movie came out. And the last movie from this video, because yes, I didn't give 4 stars and a half or 5 stars to any movie. The last film that we're gonna talk about, not even too much because I've talked about this film in previous Letterboxd recap videos, will be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, this is my second favorite MCU film, and if you wanna see my whole ranking from the MCU, I left a list over my Letterboxd when it comes to my favorite and least favorite. My least favorite series, I don't have, for the first time over this Letterboxd series, I don't have a least favorite series or season because I loved all of them. When it comes to my least favorite film from the month, definitely it was Dashcam. Dashcam was just horrible. Why are we following a Karen for almost 2 hours? And my favorite film from the month definitely will be Cube. I loved Cube. I think Cube is so original, very unique, even disturbing, and I love the social commentary because one of my favorite phrases from the movie is only the government could have been able to build something like this, and it's like, where is the lie? that was everything that I watched over the month of July. I'm so excited for the content that is coming out in August. Stay tuned because I'm gonna do more comparisons for my Let's Talk About Horror Movie Duos series. Obviously, we're gonna talk mostly about summer movies because it's August, the summer is almost ending. I hope you have a nice end of the week and I will see you soon. Bye bye.